This is your Pastor Jim, and this is Dude. He is our family pet. And we are going to be in Mark 6 today, verse 1. And he went out from thence and came into his own country, and his disciples followed him. And when the Sabbath day was come, he began to teach in the synagogue. And many hearing him were astonished, saying, From whence hath this man these things? And what wisdom is this which is given unto him, that even such mighty works are wrought by his hands? Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James, and Joses, and of Judah, and Simon? And are not his sister here with us? And they were offended at him. But Jesus said unto them, A prophet is not without honor, but in his own country, and among his own kin, and in his own house.
Mother.
And those was in red.
Mother.
Okay?
I have come to inform you I need this.
Shall I continue? And verse 5. And he could there do no mighty work, save that he laid his hands upon a few sick folk and healed them. And he marveled because their unbelief, and he went around about the villages, teaching. And he called unto him the 12, and began to send them forth by 2 and 2, and gave them power over unclean spirits, and commanded them that they should take nothing for their journey, and save a staff only. No scrip, no bread, no money in their purse, but be shod with sandals, and not put on 2 coats. And he said unto them, and this is in red, just like the one earlier, In what place soever ye enter into a house, there abide till ye depart from that place. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear you, when ye depart, thence shake off the dust under your feet for a testimony against them. Verily I say unto you, I shall be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. That was in red. In the verse, I think that's 11. So let's go to 12. And they went out and preached that men should repent. And they cast out many devils, and anointed with oil many that were sick, and healed them. And King Herod heard of him, for his name was spread abroad. And he said that John the Baptist was risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do shew forth themselves in him. Others said that it is Elias, and others said that it is a prophet, or as one of the prophets. But when Herod heard thereof, he said, It is John whom I beheaded. He is risen from the dead. For Herod himself had sent forth and laid hold upon John, and bound him in prison for Herod's sake, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. For John had said unto Herod, It is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife. Therefore Herodess had a quarrel against him, and would have killed him, but she could not, for Herod feared John, knowing that he was knowing he was a just man, and holy, and observed him. And when he heard, he did many things, and heard him gladly. And when a covenant day was come, that Herod on his birthday made a supper to his lords, high captains, and chief estates of Galilee. And when the daughter of the said Herodess came in, and danced, and pleased Herod, and them that sat with him, the king said unto the damsel, Ask of me whatsoever thou wilt, and I will give it thee. And he sware unto her, Whatsoever thou shalt ask of me, I will give it thee, unto the half of the kingdom, or unto half of my kingdom. And she went forth and said unto her mother, What shall I ask? And she said, The head of John the Baptist. And she came in the straight way with haste unto the king, and asked, saying, I will that thou give me by and by in a charger the head of the John the Baptist. And the king was exceeding sorry, yet for his oath's sake, and for their sakes which sat with him, he would not reject her. And immediately the king sent an executioner, and commanded his head to be brought. And he went and beheaded him in the prison, and brought his head in the charger, and gave it to the damsel, and the damsel gave it to her mother. And when his disciples heard of it, they came and took up his corpse and laid it in a tomb. So we're going on 30. I'm not going to do the whole chapter like we have talked about in past videos. I'll let you know when I'm finished. And the apostles gathered themselves together unto Jesus, and told him all things, both what they had done and what they had taught. And he said unto them, and this is in red, Come ye yourselves apart into a desert place, and rest a while. Now it's going back, so that's what he said earlier. For there were many coming and going, and they had no leisure so much as to eat. And they departed into a desert place by ship privately. And the people saw them departing, and many knew him, and ran afoot thither out of all cities, and outwent them, and came together unto him. And Jesus, when he came out, saw much people, and was moved with compassion toward them, because they were as sheep not having a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. And when the day was now far spent, his disciples came unto him, and said, This is a desert place, and now the time is far past. Send away that they may go into the country round about, and into the villages, and buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat. He answered and said unto them, and this is in red, Give ye them to eat. And they said unto him, Shall we go and buy 200 pennyworth of bread, and give them to eat? He saith unto them, How many loaves have ye? Go and see. That was in red. And when they knew, they said, 5 and 2 fish. And he commanded them to make all sit down by companies upon the green grass. And they sat down in ranks, and by hundreds and by fifties. And when he had taken the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, he looked up to heaven and blessed the loaves, and gave them to his disciples to set before them. And the 2 fishes divided he among them all. Okay. They did all eat and were filled. Okay. And they took up 12 baskets full of fragments and of the fishes. And they that did eat of the loaves were about 5,000 men. And that's where I'm going to end today. That was all the way to 44. So we read from 1 to 44. If there was a question before on screen, it will be answered shortly at the end of this video. Thanks for coming to J&R Ministry. Now, I'll see you next week.